speak to you today. My topic is choosing life. It sounds like a pedestrian topic, except I doubt whether 1 out of 100 people do it, really. We don't think about choosing life, we choose things in life. We live life, and in the course of living it, we choose lots of other things and situations and futures. But life itself, who would think of such a thing? Mostly we don't. I've had an interest in ethical egoism for several years now, and for a long time I've noticed that having an ethics to support one's life requires choosing life. I've had an interest in, well, I get that. I have known it intellectually for a long time. But getting that to be a requirement of having a good life didn't make much difference. Standing alone in the shower in the early morning hours, present to the matter of choosing life and choosing it, didn't translate into anything real a couple hours later when I was involved in my day and had forgotten all about that conversation I had with myself. So, life holds all that we do. When we speak of life, we are speaking of a very wide abstraction. It is an abstraction that holds everything. It's hard to get it concretized so that we can have any sense of something to choose. I ran into this recently with a friend. I got a call from her in the late afternoon. She said she had a yearning for a calamari taco, and they had that on their menu at 6 feet under. She wanted to know if I would meet her over there for dinner, and I told her I would. So, I met her there. We had each ordered a drink and exchanged our pleasantries, and after a while, she told me that she now has cancer for the 3rd time. And she was definitely in the question of whether or not she was going to try to live this time, or whether she was going to give it up. But and so she was definitely in that spot. She got into a conversation about heaven and hell. She said, heaven, it just doesn't sound that good to me. I mean, what am I going to do? Have tea and toast with these Baptists I was raised with? I mean, I'm be bored out of my mind. So then, she said, but hell, I think that sounds worse. I mean, it's hot. It's probably doesn't smell very good. I mean, it's just a lot of things that doesn't make it even less attractive. So I don't see either of these. So anyway, she's going on like this, and I'm finally saying, why are you having this conversation, Marianne? I mean, this doesn't even sound like you. She said, well, she had a lot of friends and family, and they were all worried about her afterlife and this and that, and she was like gotten into this conversation. And she kind of was almost started talking to herself about it, really. I was there listening, but it sort of ran down. She kind of exhausted that conversation. And I said, this doesn't sound, it just doesn't sound like you. And she said, oh, I know what she said. She said, well, I've never been able to grasp what the self is. I mean, I've heard it said that, you can't really love anyone unless you love yourself first. But she said it never really had any meaning for me. I've tried to really think about that, but she said it just didn't have any reality. And so what I heard was she couldn't put any she couldn't concretize herself in some way that she had been in the question about. So I said, well, how about this? Everything that's living has a life force. Plants, animals, human beings. All that life force wants to do is live. It comes with being alive. It is not chosen, it just is. It's innocent. It's pure in its essence. It's just striving to live. You can see it in a plant. You can see it in any living thing. How about loving that? How about doing everything you can to have that stay alive? Well, that was sufficient, It was like her eyes filled with tears and then spilled over, and, she was just running down her face, and she said, that's really beautiful. I can get that. That seemed real to her. And I said, well, that's you. That's you in your essence. And so what I got was, with a reaction that there was some kind of relief that she had seen something, that settled something for her. And by the way, just to add to that story, I know that she now is going through chemotherapy and things like that. And I got a message from somebody who's going to come and take care of her while she goes through this, that, that she, they've ended the chemotherapy and they're doing radiation. And, what was in the message was Marianne has chosen to do whatever she can to have as much time on this earth as she can. I mean, I was touched by that, because I felt like it came from